Coming up on Mountain News this morning, we'll show you how one lab in Kentucky is using 3D printing to help make protective gear to help fight the COVID-19 outbreak. And while campuses are closed across the state, we'll show you how one college had an idea to make sure their employees would keep working. And we take you to Wolfe County, where one business recently donated more than 700 pounds of ground beef to local food pantries.
Dedicated to Eastern and Southern Kentucky, this is WYMT Mountain News This Morning.
Good morning. The time is now 5:31, and thank you for joining us on Mountain News This Morning. I'm Lacey Roberts, and it's Friday. We have made it through this week, and we're actually looking forward to the weekend because, you know, Brandon, those temperatures that we had yesterday, they'll kind of be around, but we'll get more of that rain back, right?
A little bit more, at least, until tomorrow night when it really picks up. But the big story, of course, we talked about earlier this week, the big story was the fog. The big story was the rain. The big story this morning is the temperatures. Let's take a look. Very mild to start this Friday. 54 in Jonesville, 70 in Williamsburg, a lot of mid to upper 60s, a lot of upper 50s too. So again, a wide range of temperatures. Regardless, it is anywhere between 16 degrees and almost 30 degrees warmer in some spots this morning. So a very, very mild start to Friday. I didn't even wear my light jacket this morning. I usually do it just because it's a habit, because, you know, the rain chances we get almost every day. But today I left it at the house, didn't need it. 74 by 2:30, 79 the official forecast time. We'll see periods of sunny clouds and maybe a stray chance for some rain later on today. We'll talk all about that here in just a few minutes. Lacey.
Thank you, Brandon. One person is dead after a crash yesterday in Pike County. Kentucky State Police tell us 59-year-old Ricky D. Akers was driving on Bowling Fork Road and Elkhorn when his truck ran off the road and flipped onto its top in a creek. Akers was the only person in the truck at the time. The Pike County coroner pronounced Akers dead at the scene. And two Pulaski County constables were indicted on federal charges yesterday. Michael Wallace and Gary E. Baldock are accused of, quote, conspiring to violate the civil liberties of people within Pulaski County. Wallace faces 10 years in prison, while Baldock faces life behind bars. Baldock had previously been indicted for the attempted murder of an FBI agent. A court date for the constables has not yet been set. And a federal grand jury indicted a Clay County man on meth trafficking charges yesterday. 54-year-old Johnny Asher of Manchester was indicted on charges of possession with an intent to distribute meth, possession of a firearm by a felon, and possession of a firearm in furtherance of trafficking. The indictment accuses Asher of distributing 500 grams of meth between October 2019 to January 2020. Asher faces life in prison. And the Kentucky Supreme Court is extending its suspension of most in-person court proceedings by another 2 weeks. There will still be exceptions for some emergency cases. The Supreme Court says judges can still hold necessary hearings through phone or video. The suspension is expected to last through April 24th. And with cases of COVID-19 now at more than 200 in Kentucky, Steve Hensley had the opportunity to talk with Governor Andy Beshear yesterday about what he calls a critical period in the next couple of weeks. The governor said that these next 2 to 3 weeks are some of the most crucial weeks to maintain this virus. He mentioned that there is a critical shortage of testing kits and personal protective equipment of PPE across the Commonwealth and really across the country. He said most of his days are spent trying to obtain that equipment from those tests, and he said he will have more information on testing here in Kentucky in the next week or so, but mentioned how although there are tough times ahead, we have come together and that things will be okay.
This is a test of our humanity. It's a test of the type of people and the type of neighbors that we are, but I believe by and large Kentuckians are passing it, and for that I am deeply grateful. And I'm very proud to be the governor of the Commonwealth of Kentucky right now.
However, Governor Beshear says even when there is more testing out there, this won't just be for anyone who wants it or may be nervous. This will be for people who need to get tested. You can see the full interview on WYMT.com. And more personal protective gear is needed across the country as the COVID-19 impact continues to grow. In Middlesboro, Southeast Community and Technical College was ready to give their unveil of their Ideas Lab when COVID-19 hit. They quickly started using 9 3D printers to make plastic face shields. It takes just more than an hour to make one of them.
And we sort of settled on this one, which is a little bit different, but it's to serve the same purpose. But we really did this literally we started about Monday. So, I mean, really, here we are at Thursday, and we've already got ready. These are going to be assembled by our maintenance department.
Southeast is also donating supplies from their nursing programs and respiratory programs, making sure they're available if needed. And classes for all 16 colleges in Kentucky Community and Technical College system will be going online for the rest of the semester. Hazard Community and Technical College is one of those colleges, and President Jennifer Linden says all content can be put online and completely remotely done. But Linden says there is one aspect of education that cannot be completed online.
We do have some students who have lab hours that are required for their programs, and for those students, just as soon as we can get students safely in labs again, we will begin to make up those hours and that lab time.
Linden says they do not have Wi-Fi hotspots available on all in-campus parking lots, so that not only students but the community can complete their studies and projects. And with campuses closed across the state, one college had an idea to make sure their employees would keep working. WYMT's Hannah Reynolds talked to Dr. Larry Cockrum at the University of the Cumberlands about what they are doing to give back to people in Williamsburg that need their help now more than ever.
It's what our mission has been here since this school began.
Helping out wherever they can.
None of us have ever seen this before. And what we want to try to do is make sure that none of our employees are laid off. We want to keep them employed for as long as we can because there's a lot of other people that are being affected by it.
Though their cafeteria remains empty, their hearts are full of love. Then came an idea.
And we had food. Students weren't here. So the best thing to do and the right thing to do is to feed the people that have trouble feeding themselves.
While the students are out, we're still servicing them. They come in, it's basically just like a carry-out you would at a restaurant. They come in, they get their meals, and Dr. Cochran wanted them out the door as soon as possible.
But they quickly realized the need stretched beyond their campus while keeping that social distancing. They're loading up their vans, delivering food to churches, schools, and senior centers.
Senior citizens, you know, there was, I think, 10 people on a waiting list. They were servicing some people, but there were still 10 people on a waiting list that basically didn't have anything. So to be able to help them obviously gives you a great deal of gratitude and you know, just makes you feel good that you're helping someone.
In return, pouring into the kitchen just as much as they're giving out. In Whitley County, Hannah Reynolds, WYMT Mountain News.
And if you know anyone that should be added to their list of families to serve, you can contact the University of the Cumberlands at 606-539-4357. And the Chop Shop in Wolfe County donated more than 700 pounds of ground beef yesterday. The beef was donated to Abiding Hope and Catholic Church of the Good Shepherd food pantries. We talked with Wolfe County Magistrate Gene Booth about what it means for a company to support its community.
It's great to see a business step up and help the community, you know, to give back to the local county, and it's just fantastic. I mean, it's very, very kind.
Those who run the food pantry said they are very grateful to receive the ground beef for families in need. You can learn more about the food pantries over on our website at WYMT.com. And in Floyd County, officials are working to keep food pantries and feeding programs well stocked. WYMT's Buddy Forbes spoke to a pantry in Prestonsburg. That's where Helping Hand is more than appreciated.
With more than 2,000 people in Floyd County out of work since the pandemic hit, food insecurity is the next focus for county leaders.
The food problem was already beginning in January, February, but it's twice as many people now.
Pastor Judy Yunker, whose church runs Fishes and Loaves food pantry in Prestonsburg, says the ministry serves a growing number of families every week.
Some of our people are getting $18 a month in food stamps. That for an elderly woman or man, that's not enough.
Numbers that have only climbed as the pandemic continues, leaving the pantry shelves with holes to be filled.
Our shelves are bare back there, and we probably have 60 to 80 people this coming week. We're not ready for them.
Which is where the fiscal court comes in. Thursday, the court voted to move $200,000 from the emergency fund to address possible food insecurities.
The food pantries and our senior citizens programs, we think, is the two organizations that we can work with to ensure that we get some additional folks fed
The county will not hand over money to the pantries, but will pay for the food or reimburse purchases. Judge Executive Robbie Williams says it is not a pressing concern, but he wants the county to stay ahead.
To me, it's a precautionary measure. We don't know where we're going to be in 3 weeks. We don't know that we're going to have the ability to have a meeting in 3 weeks.
And stay fed. In Floyd County, Buddy Forbes, WYMT Mountain News.
The funds will also benefit daily senior meals programs. Williams said it is the county's way of making sure meals are available to all. And later on Mountain News this morning, we'll show you an unexpected but adorable distraction many at-home workers are now experiencing.
Our very mild stretch of weather will continue into the weekend, but it comes at a bit of a cost. I'll track some limited rain chances in about 3 minutes.